Hello, everyone. Today's episode was filmed over 2 back-to-back days at the same location. The first day, I didn't quite make it to the spot I wanted to get to, so I decided to go back the second day. And the reason these trips took so long is because I brought along a pinpoint metal detector, and it was my first time using it, and I kept finding lots and lots of things, so it took me longer than usual on my paddle, so you'll see that later. But right now we're going to start off with a tiny little piece of trash, just a lid to a bottle. Next to that, I find a bottle of sunscreen. Feels pretty full. And in that same general location, here we have a shoe. I don't know how you lose your shoe in the water and why there's only one here, but it doesn't look too old. Here's another bottle cap. Paddling deeper into the lily pads, I spot this, I think it's like a foam handle. Here is a ruler marking the depth of the lake water in this location. If I'm reading this correctly, we're at about 1 foot, not quite 5 inches, and it is the middle of July. We'll see this ruler again in later episodes. I'm not sure if I've ever found 2 different kinds of shoes on the same day, but maybe I have. At any rate, here is another shoe, somebody's flip-flop. And I see something blue in the water. I'm not really sure what it is until I pick it up. And it is a pinwheel. Here I pick up my first wrapper of the day. Let's hope it's the only one I find. And here I spot an item that I find a lot of. It's a bobber. I find a spot that doesn't have lily pads up by the shore, so I pull out my pinpoint metal detector and start looking. I'm still sitting in the kayak here, so it's not easy to do, which I figure out pretty quickly, but I do find a large piece of metal wire or something. It's braided or twisted. And a couple more pieces of trash are over here on the shoreline. Here is a plastic cup. And hiding under this log is a can. Kind of tricky to get it out. It's a nice hot day. I decided to get out of the kayak so I can use that metal detector a little better. So I park my kayak here in a nice spot where it's not going to blow away from me. My first find from walking along the shoreline feels a little bit like cheating. I didn't even have to dig for this one. This one I had to dig a little for. Found some more metal pokey things. Here's the tab from a pop can. Here's a bolt of some sort. Well, I'm wearing my water shoes because I know that there's lots of glass and branches and rocks that you can step on. I haven't learned yet that I should be wearing a glove when I'm doing my digging. There's lots of sharp edges on the metal pieces that I find. So that was the end of day 1. Let's move on to day 2 where I go back to the same location. On the way there I spot this orange buoy looking thing floating in the water, so let's go have a closer look. When I take a closer look, I see an email address for somebody at the University of Minnesota. So this must be part of the treatment they do on the lake to get rid of one of the weeds that grows here. And then over in the reeds, I spot a plastic bag. Let's pick that up. And I'm heading along the shoreline that I was at yesterday, going a little bit further down, hoping to arrive at this public kind of landing where people fish from. But when I get down there, somebody is there with their dog. So I keep going past it for a little ways and start at the very end. I've parked my kayak and gotten out, and right away I find some fishing line that's tangled up on the shoreline here, so take a little bit of time to get that out of the water. Now that that's out of the way, I can focus on this gorgeous day, no wind, and I notice a bunch of little fish over by me, so let's have a peek underwater. Those were some nice little sunfish. Let's get back to doing some metal detecting and picking up trash. Of course, the first thing I find is not metal, but a piece of very sharp looking glass. And I also find this giant plastic bag. And I find different kinds of metal here in the water. In this spot, I find a small nail. Again, where are my gloves? This was a really cool find. Most things were nails and just random pieces of metal, but right here I find a key. Wish I knew its backstory. I don't know why I love finding things so much, but I'm really having a good time with this metal detector. So let's keep going. I found a hook with a weight on it. Here I've noticed that there's some trash in the water stuck in the shoreline, so let's go see what that is. And it looks like it's the lid to a plastic container. Time to do some more digging. I've got quite a collection going on here, so let's bring it all back to the kayak. Got some big metal pieces. I don't know what kind of item they were from. And then some smaller stuff that I've stuffed in my pocket, nails, that key, and just random metal pieces. That key I found was pretty cool, but this one might be even cooler. It's a license plate. At least I can tell it's a license plate looking at the back of it. The front is very covered in silt and hardened sand. I'm not sure how to clean this up or if I will be able to tell what year it's from. I'm finally ready to call it a day, so I've packed up my things, got my life jacket back on, and I'm ready to get back in the kayak. And since I like to drain the water out of my water shoes before I get in the kayak, I make it look real awkward. And then get distracted by the pretty little wildflowers that have grown here on the shoreline. I didn't catch it on camera, but I was able to retrieve this very heavy metal post. I think we saw it in a previous episode. All right, it's finally time to head home. I've arrived back at the dock. Let's unload all of the trash treasures I found. That was sure a lot of stuff when you add in my finds from yesterday. Please remember why I do what I do. It's all for lake's sake. And now for your bonus material, I'm going to try to clean up this license plate and get this gunk off of it. I start with some soapy water and a scrub brush. Didn't really do a whole lot. Then I try to chip away at it because it is really, that sand is really solid. But all I'm doing is destroying the license plate. And then I try to soak it in some vinegar and leave it in there for a while and then take it out and do the same thing and kind of pick at it. It's been a lot of work. This is what it looked like when I started. Very crusty. You could hardly tell it was the license plate. And it cleaned up a little bit, but I felt like I poked a lot of holes in it as I went along. You can only see that it's got the 10,000, so it's a Minnesota plate, and from 1900 and something. I'm missing that section, unfortunately, but here's the final product. Please remember to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.